Salut YouTube! I am jumping on to do a Q&A, which I haven't done in ages, but I just asked you guys over on Instagram if you had any questions for me, and we're going to cover some life updates. I got a lot of questions about New Zealand and the pandemic. Am I ever going to move back to France? Like, are my French husband and I going to settle in New Zealand or in Europe? Heaps of different stuff, how my business is going. So we're gonna jump into loads of juicy stuff today. So I'm excited for that. But before we dive into all the juicy personal information, basically, I get this question a lot, which is how did you learn French? What do you recommend for learning French? All of that kind of stuff. So if you've been watching my channel for a while, you guys know that I'm partnered with Lingoda because I actually used Lingoda to prepare for my French nationality exam. So while I was preparing my French nationality dossier, I basically needed proof that I was at least B1 level of French. So I started preparing and learning B2 with Lingoda and with the professors and that kind of stuff. And then I actually passed my exam and I got C1. So it works really well, and I'm a huge fan of Lingoda. So Lingoda is an online language school, if you don't know already. It's exactly the same concept as a language school, but without the commute time. So effectively, it's a super cool thing if you want to learn a language from home this summer, or while you're in lockdown or whatever, or winter if you're in the southern hemisphere. And what's really cool is that it's super small class sizes, so you have 3 to 4 students in your class on average, so you get lots of quality time with your native professor. The professors are really high quality. You can see your learning path on the platform. You can download your materials and do your homework and stuff before and after the class. Like, it's just really, really well done. The biggest game changer, of course, is that they offer classes 24/7, so you'll always find a time that works for you if you're a night owl like me. And you can learn, I mean, I learned French, but you can also learn English, business English, Spanish, or German as well. But the crazy thing is because it's all online and they can cut those overheads, the classes are ridiculously cheap. Like, they are as low as €8 per class to learn a language, which is unheard of for an actual language school. So yeah, what my subscribers always tell me that they love the most is that you can choose from over 1,000 different classes, but it's organized in a really smart way. So you always have something that's quite exciting coming up and you know where you're going with your language. So anyway, 10 out of 10 would recommend. If you want to try Lingoda, click the link below because you can try out the platform completely free for a week. So that's 3 classes in 1 week for free, and then you just need to cancel by the end of the 7th day, of course, so that you don't get charged if you don't want to sign up. Now, if you're a keen bean and you know that you want to sign up directly, I have a code for you. It's French3, and you can actually get 20% off your first month on Lingoda. So enjoy, guys, and click the links and use the codes in my description down below, and happy language learning. So without further ado, let's get into this juicy Q&A. Okay, first question is, how is your entrepreneurship project going? So thank you for asking. So for those of you who don't know, I have an entrepreneurial project as an online career coach, basically where I'm packaging my last 10 years of knowledge working in HR and recruitment and helping people to figure out their purpose, to brand themselves, and to go out and either create or land their dream jobs. And I'm freaking loving it. It's called Badass Careers. I've even got a second YouTube channel. Go and subscribe if you're someone who wants to have a super badass career and do really great things with your career. But anyway, long story short, it's going really well. Obviously with the COVID pandemic, I'm incredibly busy. There are a lot of movement happening at the moment in the career space. I've been busy basically since I launched in October 2019, so I can't complain. I've never kind of worried like, is this gonna work? What's coming next? You know, I was also still consulting for L'Oreal, so I was always able to fundamentally pay my bills as well for a while. But even as that's died down, my entrepreneurial project has ramped up, and yeah, I'm happy to say that I'm absolutely on track to replace my corporate salary through the project, and I'm just, yeah, loving my job, and I'm just loving the work, loving the impact that I have. I really feel like I'm changing people's lives, so it's freaking awesome. On the other side, I would say like entrepreneurship is not for everybody, and that, oh my gosh, like it's damn hard work, and I have made so much sacrifice this year. I'm the first to admit I've been very, very selfish this year, in that I'm basically never the first one to contact or call my friends, which must get really freaking old on their part. I don't see them as often as I'd like to. I don't keep in touch with the ones back in France as often as I want to. We still do, of course, but you know, I want to be that great friend who's always really proactive and always, you know, like touching base. And I have been very antisocial. I've sort of been in a bubble, in a tunnel, just head down, work. I was like, I've got to get this working. Because, and I'll talk about this a little bit later, but you know, the dream is that I can work for myself so that I'm a location independent and I can live between France and New Zealand without any dramas effectively. And I would be lying to you if I said that it was easy. Like, I have been working like every single day. I think over an entire year, in all honesty, I've had about 4 days off in an entire year, and I'm pulling really, really long hours. Like, I'm coming to you pretty tired and pretty like pre-burnout basically. So I'm definitely now moving, now that I've proven to myself that the concept works and that I can earn good money doing it and that everything's going to be okay. I definitely look forward to being able to integrate more relationships and health and like every other aspect of life basically back into my life. The next question is, does your body image change depending on the country that you live in? So absolutely, I think that's pretty universal, that there's different standards of beauty and different norms in every country. So what's considered normal in New Zealand is considered chubby or kind of big in France. I think France, I mean, universally is known for having quite a skinny culture. So of course, when they're on that end of the spectrum, but for them, they're normal, everyone is going to seem like bigger than they are in general, especially the Parisians, like they are very thin in general. There's definitely like the standard of beauty, right? In France, I feel like the standard of beauty is that you kind of like, if you're wearing a shirt like this, it kind of like hangs off you a little bit, right? It's got to be kind of gapey and kind of like almost like you're a bit of a coat hanger, right? And it's kind of like hanging off you, and that's what's beautiful and sexy and looks good to them, you know? Whereas in different cultures, you know, it's important to have a really big round juicy butt, or it's important to you know, be curvy, or you're more athletic in general, or whatever it is. So yeah, definitely that has changed, and I definitely spend less time thinking about body image and size here than I did in France, probably because in France I was always feeling like the odd one out, like just always slightly bigger, and back in New Zealand I guess I'm just kind of normal. In saying that though, as I said, like I've really sacrificed my health over the last year, and I've done it for the sake of my business and just to kind of, you know, for the bigger picture as well, so that, you know, my dream of being able to live between New Zealand and France can become a reality. And yeah, my health has definitely gone by the wayside, and I am going to be looking into kickstarting my health and really getting fit again and losing some weight and all that good stuff in the months to come. So yeah, now that I'm saying it out loud, I'm kind of like, now I'm accountable, right? So I'm definitely, yeah, going to be working on integrating that back into my routine. Yeah, so the next question is, what do you miss most? I guess that's about France. And then, do you miss Paris? And I have some other questions like, would you live in Paris again, and that kind of thing. So let's start with, do I miss Paris? I miss seeing Paris. I miss the beauty of Paris. I miss the people in Paris, like my friends, but I do not miss living in Paris. I love our lifestyle in New Zealand. I love that we have a beautiful 3-bedroom home with a garden and a cat, and we go biking and we go walking, and we, you know, like I wouldn't trade that for life in Paris again. It's just not me. However, I miss a lot of things about France, of course the people, but it's more the lifestyle in the south of France that I miss. So, you know, like those long balmy summer nights, like seeing the photos from summer at the moment is just killing us, especially because we can't get back to France at the moment. It's just, oh, it's really frustrating. And seeing, you know, like the tables with the beautiful setting, like they always have like, just for a family dinner, like the placemats and the cutlery and the napkin in the little napkin holder and everything, and just, you know, good food on the table, good bread, like knowing that they're gonna have long meals that last for hours and hours, and just the heat as well. Like it's freezing here in New Zealand at the moment, and it's just been grey and rainy and hovering around like 10 degrees for weeks. Like, we're over it. And you know, knowing that people in France now are enjoying balmy 30 degrees and going for walks and going for swims, and we're just like, ugh. So yeah, I definitely miss that. And that's why the dream is to live in New Zealand as a base and then go to France every New Zealand winter. That would just be awesome. The next question is, how do you manage your time while working from home? And I think you guys have understood that I don't. I'm just working 24/7 at the moment, and I really want that to change. So I've just, how do I manage my time? I open my laptop at 8 AM and I close it at midnight, and I don't take a break. Okay, the next question is, are you coming back to Europe or are you staying in New Zealand forever with the hubby? So this is an impossible question to answer, because who knows what life holds, to be honest. Like, obviously, for example, if one of our parents were sick, we'd have to prioritize that. Like, we're kind of having to think about that, I guess, quite globally. At the moment, what do we know? We know that my husband has a wonderful job that he absolutely loves, and he definitely sees himself in for the next 5 years for sure. And then our kind of hope is that, I guess, companies and organizations are getting more and more modern, more and more flexible, especially with COVID. Like, they just sort of have to, you know, adapt these days. And I guess the dream come true would be able to, as I sort of said before, be based in New Zealand, but be able to spend 3-4 months a year in France over the winter time, and he could potentially work from there. Now, that would be a dream come true. If that can't happen, we'll have to see, you know, because I think New Zealand just offers a lifestyle that can't really be, no, I won't say can't be beaten. I won't say that. That's not fair. But it offers a lifestyle for us, like who we are as people, just in terms of the incomes we're able to attain here, and the quality of life, and the lifestyle, and the access to nature, and all of those things, the things that we love. And we've got our little cat here. I think we're really happy in New Zealand as a base. To be fair, we haven't lived ever, like, we've never lived together in the south or in a gorgeous like small town in Provence or anything like that, which is something we do want to do one day. We know that for sure. But that's kind of all I can tell you at the moment as to where our heads are at. Now, obviously, one day long term, we're going to have to think, you know, what if kids are in the picture and that kind of thing. And on one hand, you've got digital online schooling, homeschooling, unschooling, maybe doing schools like half the year in one country, half the year in another. Like, hopefully life catches up and we can adapt. Otherwise, we may have to make a choice and really, you know, choose a country. But I guess one of the reasons I'm working so hard to build my business is so that one day, maybe in 5 years time, we have the option to say, you know, let's live for 6 months and 6 months. And maybe it's, you know, doing 6 months of work, or 6 months of a fixed term contract, or whatever that looks like for Niels, and then 6 months in France, and we use the money from my business to float us, whatever that looks like. But yeah, that's kind of the long-term dream. Are you going back to France soon? We don't know. What we're waiting for is New Zealand to change, basically. So we could go to France right now. They've opened their borders to some international countries, including New Zealand. However, coming back to New Zealand, we would have to be in a hotel room, not able to get out, not able to eat out or anything, having to eat the hotel food in a hotel room for 14 days upon arrival back into the country. So if you can imagine asking your work for 4 weeks off, and then you've got 2 weeks stuck in a hotel room, so it's 6 weeks out of work for Niels. And they're actually talking about making people pay for that as well, so it's like 2 weeks of expenses in a hotel room. And yeah, if we could come back and self-isolate and quarantine in our home, we would book the tickets tomorrow, I think. But it's just that it's coming back and the two of us being locked in a hotel room for 2 weeks that is kind of really off-putting at the moment, and kind of freaky. And also, being in New Zealand, it's interesting because I have another question. Let me see what it was exactly. Are you glad that you were in New Zealand during the pandemic? So New Zealand's been out of lockdown for longer now than it was ever in lockdown. We've essentially eradicated COVID. We've got cases that exist at the border in quarantine, but not in the community. And we live a normal life here, you know, like we go out for dinner and to comedy shows, and we're able to exist without fear. We're able to like go anywhere without thinking, oh crap, are we going to catch COVID? And I think that peace of mind is kind of priceless right now. So even if we do go back to Europe, it's going to be kind of freaky, I think, for us in terms of masks and precautions and all those things that we're not doing over here in New Zealand, because the disease has been effectively eradicated from our borders. So that's something to keep in mind as well, is like one of the reasons that would go, and we want to go of course like soon, is because Niels' grandmother is over there. But if we think about that practically, we wouldn't even risk going to see her for at least 2 weeks while we're there, because it could be dangerous to her health, because we could have picked up COVID while we were traveling. And yeah, there's just a lot to take into account in terms of going back to France, and we don't know if we're going to get back this year, which is really crap, to be honest. I was going to say this really shit, let's be honest, because you know, it's not what we promised, right? Like we were leaving Niels' family and saying, you know, we'll be back in a year, and we're not, and it sucks and it's painful, and yeah, it's really hard. And like it's more the ambiguity than anything, just not knowing when we will be back, which is really crap. But I know that we're not the only people in the world who are in this situation, and there are many people in much worse situations, and at least we're safe and we're okay in New Zealand, and all of our family in France are okay, and we're just kind of like sitting ducks at the moment, I would say. The next question is, why don't you record videos anymore? And guys, I do record videos. I record like 2 to 3 videos usually a month, but YouTube's algorithm has changed and you probably don't see them anymore. So, you know, I used to put out a video and get like 30, 40, 50,000 views, and now I get like 6,000 and stuff, because the algorithm's just not pushing my videos out as much as it used to. And so if you go onto my channel, you'll probably be surprised that I've actually got several videos that I've uploaded semi-recently at least. So no, I'm not doing weekly videos anymore, but I'm still keeping up with the channel, and I'm still checking in from time to time. Obviously, what I'd love to be able to do is go back to France and do some vlogs for you guys and collabs for you guys, and do all sorts of cool stuff over there, but we're kind of waiting on that at the moment. And the last question is, how have you been? So thanks for asking, what a nice question. How have you been? So as I kind of alluded to, I'm a bit overworking so much. I've been a bit of a workaholic, trying to juggle consulting and building a new business, and not even French, and life in general. But overall, just really happy to be safe and healthy in our beautiful home in New Zealand with our little kitty Bonbon. And yeah, can't complain honestly in the grand scheme of things. So just in order to make my life feel a bit more positive and to feel a little bit more content with life, I think I just need to spend more time with Niels, more time with my friends, get outside more, work out more, eat better, like all that good stuff. Just sort of like have a good life hygiene, as they say in France, because that's when everything would just feel great. And then knowing when we're going back to France would be like huge relief, and that would be a bit of a game changer as well. So I definitely add that to the list of things that I'd love to see happen in the second half of the year. But otherwise, yeah, life's good, we're happy, and yeah, both doing good things professionally and enjoying our work, and yeah, still settling in and still building up our house here in New Zealand, and still, yeah, furnishing that and seeing friends, and just yeah, having obviously COVID's a bit of a shit show, but having quite a quiet life this year. And yeah, everything still feels so new. It's hard to explain, but even though it's not, it's been a year since we've been here, so crazy. So anyways guys, those are all the questions I have time to tackle today. If you have any other ones, let me know down below. I can definitely do a follow-up Q&A. I'm an open book, like really happy to answer your questions straight up, so don't hesitate, whatever you want to know. And again, if you want to learn or improve a language in the next few months, I definitely recommend signing up to Lingoda. Such a great language school, completely online. I've left my link down below, which will give you 20% off your first month if you want to sign up using my code. So otherwise guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. A bientôt!